Human Rights Watch has lashed out at the silence of governments attending COP28 over the continued detention and torture of foreign activist Ahmed Mansoor. The lobby group has called for his immediate release. He was arrested in 2011 for defamation and insults to the UAE heads of state.
Human Rights Watch is one of the non-profit organizations that's keenly watching the developments taking place here at COP28, and of particular interest for this NPO is the issue of the phasing out of fossil fuels and the civil rights issues in the United Arab Emirates. In fact, coming into this COP28, Joey Shaye, you have actually spoken about ending the human rights abuses taking place here in the UAE, and that this must be on the agenda at COP28. Why have you chosen to take up this issue?
Yeah, absolutely. So the UAE over the past decade has engaged in a sustained assault on basic rights and freedoms. They've criminalized the right to protest, the right to speak freely, the right to organize a civil society organization, an independent environmental group. So we have been calling on UAE authorities to end these restrictions on basic rights and freedoms, and we've also been calling on other governments in attendance of COP28 to pressure the Emirati government into creating more space for freedom of expression, assembly, and association. One of the cases that we've been following very closely over the past decade is the case of Ahmed Mansoor, who was the last openly working human rights defender in the UAE. And right now he is sitting in Al Sadr prison, which is just 45 minutes away from where we are today in Dubai Expo City. Human Rights Watch has been calling for his immediate and unconditional release. Unfortunately, we have not seen that, and unfortunately, many governments in attendance of COP28 have been shamefully silent on the need for his release. Yeah.
And I mean, one of the other things was as recently as 2 days ago, I think there was an issue around whether people would even be able to protest here at COP28 and the permissions around that. What's to be said about this in light of what you've just mentioned about Ahmed Mansoor?
It's extremely restrictive at this COP28 in terms of protest rights. You can only protest safely within the blue zone, which is where we are right now. It's the UN special zone that is governed by UNFCCC rules and regulations. The moment you step outside into the green zone and beyond, you are subject to national Emirati laws, which criminalize protests and other basic rights. So we have been warning climate activists who are attending COP28 to be extremely careful with where they are expressing themselves and to only express themselves within this safe blue zone. Even within the blue zone, it has been very challenging to get certain protest actions approved, and because this is the only space where people can safely express themselves, it's been very limiting for all those in attendance.
What about the expression then about phasing out fossil fuels, which is a topic that is currently on the agenda? In fact, there's a strong push for either the phasing down or even completely ditching fossil fuels as being one of the key outcomes of this COP28.
At Human Rights Watch, we are demanding that the phase out of fossil fuels is included in the concluding document of COP28. We're hoping to see that happen, but it's very challenging in this environment. We have Sultan Ahmed Ngcobo, the head of COP28, who is also the head of ADNOC, the Abu Dhabi National Oil Company, and we have been documenting over a series of many months that the UAE is using COP28 as a means of burnishing its image while continuing to push for the expansion of fossil fuels. So those interests are clearly, colliding in this moment, but we're still hopeful that that fossil fuel reference will be included in the concluding document.
All right, Joey Shai, she speaks for Human Rights Watch, and hope. That's mainly what a lot of lobbyists, NPOs, and even our very own South African government are pinning, on in terms of being able to get a feasible, viable outcome at a COP28. For Newzroom Afrika on Channel 405, I'm Ziyanda Ngcobo at Expo City in Dubai.